2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
Let me tell you, the response to the show has been absolutely amazing. People can't believe that a young conservative millennial continues to fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and talks about issues that some are even afraid to talk about. But we do it because we understand the importance of this. And now we're seeing it absolutely blow up all across the nation.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yeah, buddy, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is a whatever today is, Tuesday, I believe. Hey, welcome in. It's the post-Monday celebration, one of the greatest days of the entire week. Thanks for hanging out with us here, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, doesn't matter, on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, also on the website at HooserReason.com. Make sure to check that out as well. Got a big stuff to get to today. A lot of things happening. We have a vice presidential debate tomorrow that we need to speculate on. We have Donald Trump saying not to worry about the coronavirus. We'll touch on that a little bit. The media going absolutely haywire with that one as well. And are the polls really as accurate as what they say? Plus, arguments over the voter registration deadline in Florida and whether we should extend that or not. And then being mad because everybody apparently is just a big procrastinator. You should be able to go in and vote and register on Election Day and vote at the same time, because why the heck not? So we'll get to all that. Plus, we have some congressional bills, like actual legislation that's going on in D.C. outside of just the politics and the drama of the election. So we'll touch on that here in a little bit as well. I want to let you know, so I tried to actually go on to social media and boost a post, which you can do. You can spend $5, $10, $20 on social media, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, whatever, and do a boost, so you get more exposure, because we have over 2,000 followers on the Facebook page, which you can find at Hooser Reason. We have over 2,000 followers on there, and we get like 5 likes on everything. So either my posts are extremely boring or no one sees them. And it kind of goes up and down. So sometimes we'll get some really good response, and sometimes we don't get any at all. So every once in a while, not usually, because why, but sometimes I'll do a little like $5 boost on it just to try and get that extra exposure if I think it's extremely important. Well, now for 3 times in a row now, 2-3 times in a row now, we have tried to do a boost on just an article that we've shared or a post that we've made, and it gets rejected off of social media. They won't let me boost it. I don't know why. Now, I verified myself because it's quote-unquote political content, so they send you a little thing in the mail with a code, and you got to punch it in to verify yourself, and you got to type in your driver's license information, and I normally would not do that, but I did it because, well, it's a political page, and we do a political talk show, so I thought, you know what, why the heck not? I might as well just get into the system with Facebook and social media. So I verified myself. We got the little verification for the show page and for everything, and still it has rejected me for political content. Censorship much, which is why I wanted to bring on our next guest here, and I'm excited to have this guy on as he really opens the door to a lot of this and opens our eyes to a lot of what's actually going on behind the scenes as we use the interweb on a daily basis and the censorship that's going on, especially with the upcoming election season. So I'm excited to have on here. He is the senior technology correspondent for Breitbart News. He is also author of the new book, #Deleted, Big Tech's Battle to Erase the Trump Movement and Steal the Election. I'm excited to have on the program here, Alam Bakari here with us. Alam, how are you, my friend?
Hi, Andy. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, I appreciate you very much coming on the program. It's a crazy time when you can't even get a message out there on the free interweb, so to speak, at least in quotations free, and a free exercise to be able to express your opinions on social media, but then no one seems to see it because, well, they don't want you to see it. Conservatives complain about this a lot, but is this something that's really going on, or is it just, well, sorry, but your luck ran out, and it's really not, but you just feel it because your message isn't really getting out there?
Well, Andy, it's certainly not the free internet anymore. I mean, I've been following these companies, these Silicon Valley tech giants, since I joined Breitbart News in 2015. And that was before Silicon Valley censorship was on anyone's radar, really. But it's escalated so much in the past 4 years since Trump has won. And I'll tell you something from the book, which I found quite alarming, which is that the way these censorship algorithms work, because in many cases it's not a human who's censoring you, it's a computer program, it's an algorithm, is that they look for superficial similarities to accounts that have been previously banned for things like so-called hate speech and so-called misinformation and all the other made-up words big tech uses to punish its political opponents. So the more right-wing accounts get banned, the more right-wing accounts get censored, that has a kind of cascading effect on every other account that posts similar links or talks about similar issues, because, in the mind of a sort of kind of stupid computer algorithm, it's going to be looking at those superficial similarities. And that doesn't come from me, by the way. That comes from a source who worked for Twitter and Google for a very long time, so he knows what he's talking about.
Sure.
And there are so many other sources in the book from these tech companies, from Facebook, from Google, from Twitter, who are so alarmed by what they've seen is that they came forward to even putting their careers on the line, risking getting blacklisted for talking to a conservative journalist, but they came forward to warn the American public about what's going on, because it is really, truly dystopian. They have the ability now to censor not just one or two people, but entire political movements, and that's really what they're doing.
Yeah. Now, how does the algorithm work? I mean, is it key phrases if we use the word Trump, if we use the word Constitution or conservative? I mean, is it certain phrases? Is it key words like that? Is it just who you associate with? How does this algorithm work?
Well, we know very little about it. That's the thing. These algorithms are all behind black boxes, so the little we know about it is from the sources inside these companies that are somewhat familiar with how they work. I can tell you that it's certainly in part based on who you follow. So if you are following one of these, big accounts that got banned, like Paul Joseph Watson or Laura Loomer on Facebook, the algorithm is looking at that and seeing, this account followed other accounts that are known for posting so-called hate speech. And you may not get banned yourself, but you're certainly less likely to be shown at the top of people's news feeds.
How sad.
And that's why I talk about how Silicon Valley turns down the volume of entire political movements. Because you take out one person in the network, you tag one person in the network as violating one of Silicon Valley's increasingly expansive terms of service, like hate speech or misinformation or so on, and that affects every other account in the network as well. That is how these algorithms work. They look for similarities.
Wow. Wow, how crazy. Now, is there any way around it? I mean, if we don't know the algorithm, obviously it's hard to kind of get around. But if we are being censored and if our message isn't getting out there, let's say, I mean, there's other talk show hosts that have obviously hundreds of thousands of followers or millions of followers, and they get, a whole, 50 people that like their stuff. Is there a way to get around that? Is there ways to actually get your message out and actually communicate to others, which is what social media is all about? Is there ways to do that without getting censored?
Well, there are still conservatives who do well on social media. That's not in dispute. But you have to wonder how much better they would be doing if it wasn't for all the suppression. And you also have to wonder, and this is where election interference comes in, how much of their messages are actually reaching undecided voters. Because, the mainstream media likes to say, well, oh, look, Breitbart News is still doing well on Facebook. Ben Shapiro is doing great on Facebook. They point to all these conservatives who are doing well on Facebook and say, to make the case it's some kind of right-wing echo chamber. Of course, they ignore the fact that so many prominent conservatives have been banned completely from the platform. But you may well be doing great in traffic, but from the standpoint of election interference, are those messages reaching the voters who are persuadable, who might be swayed to change their opinion one way or the other?
Yeah, and that's the big
One
question.
of the things one of my Facebook sources told me, which again gets to this growing dystopia, this growing totalitarianism of Silicon Valley, their determination to put their thumbs on the scale of elections. He told me that Facebook was looking at depolarizing people, and fighting hyperpartisanship, and that one of the ways they might do it is by looking at the kind of content that moves people from the so-called far right to the center. And obviously the way they define far right in left-wing Silicon Valley is probably very different to the way you and I and most normal people would define far right. And the way they do that is to simply look at the kind of content that persuades people and make sure that reaches the right people. Because you have to remember that these companies know so much about us. They know who the undecideds are. They know who's persuadable. They know what persuades them because they've seen what persuaded people in the past. And they can make sure that everyone is micro-targeted to maximize political influence.
Sure.
So you may be doing very well on Facebook, but if it's not reaching the right people, if you're just stuck in an echo chamber, then you're not going to have an impact on political discourse on elections.
Well, and that seems to be what the way that it goes on both sides of the aisle. I think it kind of just isolates into this echo chamber. So what can you do and how can you reach some of those undecideds is really the big question, especially going into election season. If we're having dialogue and debate, which I don't recommend on social media because it's not very civil anyways in many of the cases. But if you do have those dialogues or discussions, or you're releasing information or even just basic news stories, and it's not getting to people other than the ones that just, as you mentioned, like the echo chamber that already hear it, I mean, how do these independents actually make decisions, or how do they go out of their way to try and find other information?
Well, I do find it interesting that there's so much talk and so much concern about Joe Biden during the next few debates, and there are many people in the Democratic Party who wanted to cancel the debates altogether. I think that's partly because Joe Biden's a much weaker debater than Donald Trump. There was fear that, he might just collapse on stage or descend into mindless babbling or something like that. That didn't actually happen. But another reason why the debates are important, more important this year than any other year, I think, is because it's one of the only times when undecided voters will really be exposed to the messages of Donald Trump without the filter of Facebook or Google or the mainstream media.
Yeah, that's a great possibility. We're talking with Alan Bakari, senior technology correspondent for Breitbart News, also author of the book Deleted, Big Tech's Battle to Erase the Trump Movement and Steal the Election. In my opinion, we got just about a minute and a half left or so before we're going to let you go. But in my opinion, by trying to censor and trying to get rid of certain messages and saying that you don't want them to influence voters in the election, by doing that, that is influencing the election by not getting messages from both sides of the aisle, is it not?
Of course, there's been this whole panic over, Russian interference through social media with a complete red herring. I think Russians spent less than $100,000 on social media ads at the last election. But the real interference comes from these Silicon Valley companies themselves. Nowhere in human history, I think, do you find so much power over political discourse concentrated in the hands of so few individuals. And these individuals are all far less crazies in Silicon Valley who believe in critical race theory and think gender is a spectrum and all sort of other nonsense beliefs. They have their thumbs on the scale of democracy, not just in America, but all around the world as well, wherever they dominate in the market, which is many, many countries. And that's why I wrote the book, because I think this digital dystopia that's arising in Silicon Valley is one of the greatest threats to freedom that's ever emerged.
Yeah, no, it's sad. In about 30 seconds, I know that they're doing the investigations and doing the committee hearings up in D.C., but is that going to solve the issue, or is it going to take something different to actually get rid of this stuff?
I think that needs to be an industry-wide standard. I think any filter that these companies place on legal, constitutionally protected speech needs to be opt-out. Users need to be opt-out. We need to be able to opt out of those filters and that censorship. Google's had a safe search button for a long time, so they have the technology. They just don't want to give users that choice because they want to control political discourse.
It's all about the control. Alan Bakari deleted Big Tech's battle to erase the Trump movement and steal the election. Alan, we appreciate the time, my friend. It's great to talk to you. We'd love to get you back on the show again here real soon.
Thanks, Andy. Great to be on.
Hey, absolutely. It's a pleasure to talk to you as well. There it is, the Big Tech trying to affect the election. We'll talk on that when we come back here from this break. A lot to get to today. That's kind of a scary thought, especially when we're trying to spread messages or at least have a dialogue, for crying out loud, as we do here on the show each and every day. We'll do that when we come back. Until then, it's a Tuesday. Let's get this ball rolling. What do you say here on The Voice of Reason? Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Missed part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on The Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the show. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a Tuesday. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch us, listen to us. Thanks to you for that each and every day. We appreciate it very much. Thanks again to Alan Bakari coming on the program, talking about big tech censorship. It makes sense. It's crazy, isn't it? The trickle-down censorship that's going on. And do you really think that the government's going to solve it? They're going to do their committee hearings, and they're going to say there's a problem. And then what do? They do what they do every single time, even on the conservative end of the aisle sometimes, is they say, well, we have a solution for you. And then they'll pass some type of regulation, some type of resolution, some proposition to say that big tech's bad and that we need to censor them and control them, rather than saying, let's open up the interweb again and allow individuals to make their own decisions and live their own life and post whatever they want to. We need to stop hate speech, okay? What do you define as hate speech? And whether you agree with it or not does not make it hate speech just because you disagree with it, and you should be able to post really whatever you want to. And it is up to you, at least this is my opinion, it's up to you as the interweb surfer to decide what is legit, what is not legit, what is right, what is not right. And guess what? Just like in the free market anywhere else, when you go to a store, that if they make crappy products, you're not going to go buy their product anymore. If they're not reliable, you're not going to go to their source any longer. If you don't like their product, you don't have to go do their product. You can go somewhere else and support some other business or some other place. The beauty of the free market, you as the educated voter that you are, get to make the decision on what you like and what you don't like and what works and what doesn't work. The problem is that people don't want to take that time to do so, so they'll hear something on social media or on the internet, and then they'll say that's fact, and then they just run with it rather than actually saying, actually, that's not really true, and actually doing your research. Because now we have an entire left side of the aisle that thinks that socialism is good and that Nazism's on the right and fascism's on the right side of the political aisle, when we know that obviously with common sense that none of that is true in any way, shape, or form. So we have a lot of work to do on re-educating, but let's reopen up the internet again and actually have some lack of censorship, especially on social media. Look, the whole reason is if you're following someone, you want to see their content, right? At least to some degree. But then when you don't see it at all, or if you're not and you would like to, because that would be something of interest to you, unless you have to go searching for it, know exactly what to search for, and you can't find it anywhere. So I think it's just kind of sad. And I'm really upset because I just try and do a simple little boost on a post to let other people see it, and nope, not allowed to do that. Kind of in a feisty mood today. I'm sorry. So here's my day in a nutshell in the last minute before the bottom of the hour break. I woke up early this morning, which I don't recommend to do it, like 3:30 in the morning. Totally don't recommend that. I had some stuff going on earlier with actually the campaigning here in the local areas. We were putting out some yard signs and talking to some people. And yes, we met super early with them this morning, which is really cool. But so I went, which I haven't gone to in a really long time, but I went to a McDonald's to go get some breakfast this morning, and you cannot go inside. I take that back. You can go inside, but you can't sit down inside. You have to go and do it as carry-out order because they will not allow it because of COVID-19. They have the plexiglass boards in front of the cashier. You can't even go to the drinking fountain because that's only employees only, because you cannot go and actually spread your germs on the soda machine thing. So you can't do that either. That kind of bugged me. No one else in there. No one else in there. Everybody's going through the drive-thru. Not even anybody walking indoors to actually purchase your stuff. And I'm just like, come on. They're taking this a little extreme, aren't they? Just a little bit extreme. Now, I know the other side of the aisle that's scared of their own shadow and scared of bubbles would be panicky about that because, oh my gosh, you actually walked in there and you were within 10 feet of somebody else and you was still wearing a mask. I didn't wear a mask, but they were wearing a mask and you had the plexiglass in front of you and you still went in there. Oh my gosh, are you not trying to kill yourself? But there are some of those that just enjoy that. So then I was watching social media a few minutes just before the show, and I was watching some individuals who got mad about someone eating a burrito on a train when the train said no food or drinks on the train, and the guy was eating a burrito, and someone lost their mind and called the police on them because they were eating a burrito. And everybody else is like, just do you, man. Eat the burrito. Enjoy that burrito. That guy was losing his mind, called the cops because someone was eating a burrito on a train. And I realized that the people that are losing their minds over the masks and not wanting businesses to be open, and the people complaining about someone eating a burrito on the train are probably one and the same, aren't they? They're probably the same kind of person. And they're annoying.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices. From iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn, make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome back into the show. It's the Voice of Reason all over the country on radio, TV, live streaming on the interweb and social media, podcasting as well, also online at HooserReason.com. Make sure to follow us on any of your favorite social media sites on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn. We are on Minds.com, also on Parler. All of it is at Hooser Reason. Hooser without an I, by the way, at Hooser Reason. You can find us on there. It's the Voice of Reason. Thanks for checking us out the way you always do. We appreciate that each and every day. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand it the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. Those were my pet peeves today. I just kind of chuckled and I saw the similarities. It's all starting to click with me. See, for those of you that know me, I try to find patterns in things, and whether it's the patterns of life and trying to figure it out, whether it's patterns in society, whether it's patterns in history, there's always some type of pattern. There's some type of correlation to where you can start getting into a rhythm and focusing on life in some way, shape, or form. And to me, there's always a good way to do that. You can always find a way to. And I'm starting to figure out the progressives. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard. I know it makes your brain hurt when you stick your head down into that sewer sometimes to take that big old whiff. And yes, I am talking about not all Democrats. I'm talking about the crazy, extreme progressive left side of the aisle and their ideology with what they believe in. It's that toxic, so to speak. It really is. But I try to find patterns of understanding. And when you can't, then you have to walk away from it because it doesn't make any sense. When you force a mask mandate for a virus that is not as bad as what they say, because you fall for it, then you are unfortunately very naive, in my opinion. And now they're losing their minds over Donald Trump saying, well, you know, it's not that bad or it's not as bad and you can fight it and you can overcome it. Don't live your life in fear. Don't make it consume you. That's what a typical leader would normally say, right? Then you have the person that's throwing a fit about someone eating a burrito on a train because how dare they eat a burrito on a train? You can't be doing something like that. Then you hear the headlines of what's going on in Miami. So let's see what's trending today, shall we?
What's trending today?
So the story out of NBCMiami.com was that the state of Florida is extending their deadline to register to vote after a crash of the voter registration system. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis extended the state's voter registration deadline Tuesday after unexpected and unexplained heavy traffic crashed the state's online system. The deadline is extended, the deadline that expired Monday until 7 p.m. to Tuesday. In addition to online registration, DeSantis ordered elections, motor vehicle, and tax collectors' offices to stay open until 7 p.m. local time for anyone who wants to register in person. Now, I had to extend it one day because there was a mass push on the last day. Why are we procrastinating to vote? Really? Now, I know some states you have to register every election. Other states, once you get registered, then you're good to go unless you actually have a move or you have a change of address or something, then you have to register in that new district. Why are we waiting to the last minute? That's like I'm sorry if you're one of those, but I'm sorry. It's like one of those people that drive me nuts that go out shopping at the grocery store on Thanksgiving Day because they couldn't plan ahead of time. I know, I forgot this, Andy. I get it. Things like that happen, but I'm pretty sure the people at the grocery store would like to spend time with their families too. Why would you wait until Thanksgiving Day to go grocery shopping? I'm just throwing it out there. It's like the guy that has the anniversary that goes to the gas station last minute to pick up the rose that's not necessarily a rose anymore in that box of chocolate from Dillon's or the grocery store at the gas station because, well, hey, I got to bring something home because I forgot. I get it happens, but come on. That happens all the time, frequently. I get it. So it drives me nuts. So why are you registering to vote last minute? It's only been a talking point for the last couple of years, has it not? The presidential election. We've only seen the whole primary debate early on. Why are we now just talking about the general election and just getting registered to vote? That bugs me. It bugs me a little bit because this is what they want. And then they say, well, they still didn't get a chance to do it. Then you're racist for not allowing people to register. And we should have same-day voter registration. It's what the Democrats have been pushing for a long time. Same-day voter registration. Why? Well, because they didn't get a chance to. Really? Does the police care if your driver's license is expired and they pull you over and they're like, you have an expired license, sir or ma'am, or other, and you say, I know, but I just haven't been able to get off work to go and get it updated. Sorry. Sometimes that would work if you get a really cool officer. Most of the time, they're like, it's 6 months expired. You probably need to get that done or we're going to ticket you. And then you probably walk away with a big hefty fine. Because I don't care. You need to set the time aside to make sure and go do that. Registering to vote's kind of one of those things up there like that. Why you don't register to vote early on boggles the mind. Why we wait till last minute boggles the mind. Why Democrats actually want you to do same-day voter registration boggles my mind. Other than the fact that they actually want to rig the election by having you go and register and vote inappropriately and fill out a provisional ballot or try and vote regular after registering that day because, well, I don't understand. I would rather skip that election and not vote that time because I didn't get registered in time. Simple enough. But no, we need to have same-day voter. We need to give them every opportunity. We've only been telling them for a whole year and said, this is the deadline, don't miss it. And yet people are like, I guess I worked in retail for too long because I worked at a bank for a while. As a personal banker, but it was the bank that was inside a grocery store, so you can't necessarily just lock the door because we would just be closing, which our closing time was at 7 o'clock at night. We'd be closing and the grocery store would still be open, so people would still be walking by, but we'd be closing. And of course, there would be that one person that's running down the aisles with the check above their head like a flag, running by like, don't close! I need to cash my check! When we've already balanced the drawers, we've already set the vault, we've already got, don't close! Most of the time we're like, sorry, we can't do it, or use the ATM. But there was always that one person that would catch us before we got everything closed out, where you had to do it, and then you stayed 15 minutes late, and then the bank gets mad because you're on overtime, and then you're home late for the family. It happens every time. I always wanted to put the little sticker on the front there that says, the lack of your preparation does not constitute as a crisis on my end. Because retail people, please do that. Please do that. People that work in retail and have to work in customer service, do that. Because people will take advantage of you all the time. And if you're one of those, please don't do that. Have consideration for other people. Most people are cool, though. Most people are good. But there's just that fringe. The ones that'll call the cops on you for not wearing a mask. The ones that'll call the cops on you for eating a burrito on a train. The ones that'll call the cops on you for having a soda instead of a water because they say water only in this certain area. The ones that'll call the cops on you or chew you out or cuss you out because you closed on time and they didn't make it, so therefore you need to wait and cater to their needs. There's always that fringe of crazy. There's always the ones that say, I didn't get registered to vote. Well, why not? Well, because I didn't get a chance. You had a year. You had a year to do that, a whole year. And you didn't have time to do it. Oh, I forgot. I've been busy. Okay. Okay. I don't know. It drives me nuts. But those are, again, probably more so on the other side of the aisle that are still criticizing President Trump for the comments that he made about COVID as well, saying, oh, you're going to get through this. Don't make it consume you in fear. I mean, how many people, show of hands, really just want to consume their life in a bubble? In a bubble. They don't want to deal with the world. Most mask wearers, advocate Nazi mask wearers, not the ones that are just like, okay, I'll do it for the consideration of others or because the business asked me to. But no, the ones where they want to drive in their vehicle by themselves with their mask on and yell at you across their painted glass of their car to yell at you for not wearing a mask in yours. Those kind of people, they've openly admitted they already want to wear masks just all the time because they're fearful of a biological world. They're fearful of viruses. They're fearful of the cold. They're fearful of the flu. They're just fearful of everything in the world. And it scares the you-know-what out of them. So they would love to have mandatory mask wearing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of their life. That would make them feel more safe. And most people are like, that's a little ridiculous because you need to actually build up immunities. You need to get sick a little bit. You have to work on you can't live in a bubble the whole time. So I started to try and understand why they would. And then I realized something. Again, my generation, the millennials, they're the ones that grew up, a lot of them, with the helicopter parents. So whether it's the child themselves or it's the parents of those children, the helicopter parents were so protective that they essentially did create a bubble for those children. So when they hear a virus is spreading throughout the United States or around the world and people are dying from it, then there are people that are dying from it, and it's terrible and it's sad. But there are also a vast majority of people that either are asymptomatic completely. I mean, look at the Trump staff right now in the White House. There's like 18 people with confirmed case and like one has symptoms. Everybody else is asymptomatic. Now, of course, they're social distancing and they're quarantining themselves and they're wearing the masks and they're taking the preventative measures. But they take a picture of Donald Trump or take a video of him getting to the White House after being released from the hospital yesterday, not having anyone near him at all. He walks up and he takes off the mask because no one's around him and he walks into a room that's vacant other than just himself. And the media loses their minds because he took off the mask. Oh, man. I realized why there is such a panic. Other than the media creating the fear and panic for everybody to create that doubt and thinking that we're all going to die if we get the virus, which is not the case because 98% of people are asymptomatic anyways that get confirmed with the virus. But nonetheless, there's another reason for it, and it's the helicopter parenting. It is either the parents that think they have to protect everything because they are control freaks and they have to control every aspect of their life and everybody's lives around them, or it's the student or the children that are maybe around my age now that haven't had to go through anything or experience anything on their own, and the fear of the unknown and the fear of something biological, of a virus spreading through the air, is terrifying to them because they've had their life protected from their parents their whole time and they've lived in a bubble. They're the ones that couldn't eat the dirt outside because they were too busy sterilizing their hands after they walked out and shook someone's hand. They're the ones that didn't like to be around anybody at all. They're the ones that probably wore gloves their entire life and received participation trophies, but that's a different story. They're the ones that didn't experience the world, and now they're terrified. So whether it's my generation or the ones just above them with the helicopter parenting, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. It's just control freaks and people that are scared because they've never experienced it. So how do we make them experience it, make them feel comfortable? Well, in my mind, it was what Donald Trump said. Don't live your life in fear. Don't let it control you. Go out there, be a leader, and actually dominate your life. We'll talk about it when we come back. Stay here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the show. It goes by way too fast. Way too fast. Last segment already. It's hard to believe. Welcome back in. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, wherever you may be. We appreciate you very much. Make sure to check us out, HooserReason.com, or listen to us on any of your favorite radio and TV stations and channels that have us, which more are coming in the near future. Stay tuned in for that one. President Donald Trump, don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. The media losing their minds over that statement, which it makes sense. Look, as a leader, don't you want to create like hope and optimism? Hey, don't be afraid. Don't let it dominate life. You can do things to avoid it. You can do precautionary measures. You can do whatever you have to do to protect yourself, but don't let it dominate your life. Don't live in fear. Don't live in that bubble. But yet some people love it. That's where they are, and they never get out of it. They live in that bubble, and then the others just use that because that's their way of politicizing the event and scaring people into continuously living in that bubble. And they can just do that to a few more people, right? That's what we're all about. That's why the media, according to Harold Schmidt, I'm struggling for words. This is crazy. Yeah, okay. I don't understand the fear behind all of this. But enough of that. Everybody talks about COVID. We're sick and tired of COVID, aren't we? Let's talk about what's trending today.
What's trending today?
What's trending today is there are a few bills that are being searched on Congress's website. You can go to congress.gov and you can always see these. But just looking at it, some of the top most viewed bills that are happening right now are ones that I think are relatively concerning for us. Number one is House Resolution 1154, condemning QAnon and rejecting the conspiracy theories that it promotes. Now, I don't know why they would need to come out with a message of QAnon. Look, if you support or believe in QAnon, if you don't believe in QAnon, it doesn't really matter. Why would you condemn it? Like, what point does that do? Are they going to try and silence it, shut down the website? Good luck with that. I'm pretty sure they've already tried that. I looked at it. I've speculated at it. I don't know how much I take with it, but I mean, I'm open to it. If something starts happening, and they've made some predictions that I think have come true, others that I'm like, oh, that's a little crazy. But why would you need to condemn Q? And why is that a big deal? That's like trying to silence Rush Limbaugh and taking him off the radio waves. Remember when they did that a few years ago? They tried to pass that resolution as well. Didn't work out too well for you. And by the way, there's a lot of Republicans that don't want that to go away because they make some very patriotic statements. So why would you try and condemn Q and rejecting? They just want it as a statement from the federal government. We want to condemn Q. So that way nobody running for office that may be a Q supporter is allowed to be in office because we condemn that evil, terrible site of information that no one can decipher. Here's another one for you. H.R. 8337, Continuing Appropriations Act and Other Extensions. Guess what? If maybe you haven't been following this in a while, but there are things going on in D.C. outside of election time and outside of the drama of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. There's been things working in D.C., and they haven't been doing their damn jobs. Continuing Appropriations Act of 2021 and other extension acts, meaning they're not going to pass a budget. We had 12 appropriation bills that the House of Representatives is supposed to be working on, where they go through the appropriations process one piece at a time. They look at what needs funding, what needs reformed, what needs cut, what needs additional funding. They go through all of these things. There's supposed to be 12 appropriations bills for the budget, and then they decide on that as the entire budget. They're not going to do that. They're going to do what Barack Obama started all the way back when with the continuing resolution, the Continuing Appropriations Act and other extensions. They're just going to say, here's the budget, and let's just extend it out another one. Which, by the way, we are in more debt than we've ever been in our lifetime, especially after our $3 trillion stimulus package from a few months ago, and another one potentially on the way, which Donald Trump did announce earlier today as well, that he's going to delay another stimulus until after the election. He said when he wins, we'll do another big stimulus for all the American people and for farmers and for everybody that needs it and small business and so on and so forth, and then also encouraged Mitch McConnell to focus on the confirmation process for the Supreme Court nomination. But they're not doing their jobs. While we're bickering about the election and bickering about whether Donald Trump's up or down in the polls, while we're worried about what Joe Biden's saying, while we're worried about what's going on with Donald Trump having COVID and the terrible thing of him actually, talking about not living in fear his entire life. I know, terrible thing. Terrible thing. Well, all that's going on, Congress has refused to do their job, and we're not going to pass another appropriations bill. It's all just going to be done by the extension of the omnibus, the omnibus bills, the extension of our bill, regular. Sad. It's terrible. And then, of course, there's a couple CARES Act and HEROES Act bills that aren't going to go anywhere either because, well, he said that we're not going to negotiate on those anymore. It's ridiculous. Oh, by the way, too, Joe Biden did say that if Amy Coney Barrett overturns Roe v. Wade on the Supreme Court, that he would make that the law of the land. So disregard what the judges say, the ones that actually interpret the Constitution. He would make abortion the law of the land and overturn the Supreme Court's decision. Good luck with that, buddy. Good luck with that. And you're up to date on some of the latest news. That does it for us today. Podcast going up in a little bit. Until then, everybody be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. Lots more great guests coming up in the next couple of days. Make sure to stay tuned in. Until then, everybody have a great Tuesday. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.